Okay, hello everybody. Hey Kira, Ramya, Pratiksha, Pari. Hi everyone, I hope I'm audible. Am I audible on YouTube? Would love to hear from you all. If you can hear me, if I'm visible. Am I visible and audible on the app? So looking at both places, just want to hear and want to see that I am visible and audible before we kickstart today's analysis session. Okay, getting yes from Kota and Vrinda. Thank you. What about on YT, guys? Hey Abhishek, hi. Okay, can I get a few more yeses that we're audible? I see it's a subscriber only mode on YT, so just ensure that you subscribe. So if you want to say yes and ask me questions. Okay, so I see a lot of yeses here. I see a lot of yeses on the app, lovely. And I also see a lot of yeses on YT. So I hope I'm audible. And let's go ahead and let's kickstart, guys. So welcome to the first analysis of the season. The very first exam for 2023 is underway. विराट is saying I am from Bihar and you're audible. Great. बिहार तक तो पहुंच रही है, उसके आगे भी hopefully जा रही होगी. Okay, lovely. So the first exam for 2023 is underway. The exam started about a week or so back. I personally wanted to take it. I take it from home every year, the NMAT exam. That's the advantage that you have. The first I should say slot for take from home was 16 to 20th, 16th, 17th को day नहीं मिला. So I went ahead and I wrote the exam yesterday. So it's very, very fresh in my mind. And what we're going to go ahead and cover today is basically threefold. First and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and discuss the modalities. YT chat is not working, Aditya saying. Aditya, have you subscribed on YT? If you've not subscribed, you won't be able to go ahead and do it because it's a subscribers only mode. The chat is on. So ensure you subscribed to be able to chat with me, okay? Okay, coming back to where I was. There are three parts to today's session predominantly. Part one, where I'm going to go ahead and discuss the NMAT modalities, which means what is the exam flow, what does it look like, what are the certain things that you need to keep in mind, what are the important papers, important documents that you need to have with yourself, what are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind if you're looking at taking the exam at home, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing, which is going to be the NMAT exam flow. Second, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the exam analysis. I'll get deeper into what the exam actually was like, getting into every single section, what were the kind of questions that came up. We've signed a non-disclosure agreement, which all of you will also sign. So I can't really go ahead and tell you exactly what the questions were, but I'll tell you the important topics to look at. What are some of the important formulae that you should keep in mind? What are some of the important concepts that you should keep in mind that will help you do well in this paper? And finally, the last part, which is going ahead now that we've written it, and something that I've been promising you for quite some time, which is ensure that you write your NMAT exam only towards the end of October or towards the beginning of November, which predominantly means that you'll have about 10-15 days from today. So what should be your last 10-15 day strategy? How should you go about it? Which are the mocks you should write? What are the important things to focus on? Okay, are we clear? So these are the three things that we will discuss today: the flow, the analysis, and finally the last 10-15 day strategy. Make sense? If it's yes, tell me, write CC and we'll kickstart. I want to hear and see all the CCs. And all of you all who are here, I want to also see everybody there on YT to go ahead and reply in the chat box so that I know that I'm audible and you can understand what I'm stating and what are your questions. So I have my exam on 29th October. Please give me 5 directions that I should do at the last moment so that I can score well in my exam. NMAT is on 15 December. Yes, CC, all clear. Lovely. Perfect. So let's quickly go ahead and kickstart. So those of you all who are taking in December or you're taking it after CAT, you still have a little bit of time, but it's very important to keep in mind what you should do right now. Current, generally I say not November end. Why? Because 26 November is CAT. November end, matlab CAT ke within 3-4 days, if you write it, you're not really giving yourself enough time. Ideally, you should go ahead and give yourself at least 7-10 days after any other exam before you write another exam. That gives you enough time to prepare mentally and get into the correct state of mind for that particular exam. Okay. Okay, hey Samruddhi. Okay, let's quickly go ahead and kickstart. Now, 2 things which I want you to keep in mind: the difference between taking at home and taking at center. Okay, so what are the important things that you need to keep with yourself? Chat public sir, क्यों करूँ public? मैं बहुत प्राइवेट इंसान हूँ, चैट भी प्राइवेट रहती है. Okay, coming back to where I am. So if you're taking it at home, what are the important things that you need to keep in mind? The NMAT admit card, it's very, very important. I had a printout, I showed it yesterday. If you don't have a printout, you can show it from your, from on your laptop as well. You can show a soft copy version as well. That works, that's not a problem. But I would prefer सब कुछ printout में रखो तो tension नहीं रहती, you are tension free. Okay, Samriddhi NMAT on 19 December is good. Original ID proof and original secondary ID proof. So generally they ask for 2 IDs. My recommendation is, think of a PAN card, think of a passport, think of an Aadhaar card, one of these three, 2 of these 3, and it should suffice. Okay, that's predominantly it. Confirmation email printout, while they asked us to carry it, I was not asked to show it. So I would still state, ensure that you have it with you. In case they need it, have the printout of that. Okay, that once you apply for NMAT, there is a confirmation email that comes. Please ensure you have a printout of that confirmation email as well. ठीक है सर, वो तो फॉर्म फिल करते विकेट की ही एडमिट कार्ड आ गया था, या एडमिट कार्ड के साथ ये सारी चीजें भी चाहिए. Okay, so please keep that in mind. One white paper with signature. Now what I mean by this is, they generally allow you to have 2 A4 papers. 2 A4 papers is what taking at home allows you. Okay, have 3 A4 papers with you. Why? Because right at the beginning of the exam, on one of the A4 papers with a pen, either a blue or a black one, they will get you to sign, and then they will ask you to upload it, and then they will match it at the back end whether your signature that you just uploaded versus what you had uploaded when you'd applied for the exam is the same or not. So have 3 A4 size papers with you. 1 wooden pencil. This year they've allowed 2 wooden pencil plus eraser plus sharpener. So you are allowed to have all of this. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Another thing, when I took the exam, I actually took the exam and I started it in the drawing room. Okay, so that when you take the exam, at home, what they do is they ask you to pick the laptop and they give them a 360-degree view of the room, right? So when I told them I'm in the drawing room, the first question was, how many doors are there? I said there are about 4 doors, 1 restroom, 2 rooms, 1 the main gate. He said, sorry, you are not allowed to write the exam in any room that has more than 1 door. So please keep this in mind. Okay, that means it's possible that they will ask you to change. So I had to change and get into a bedroom, and that also into a bedroom that did not have an attached bathroom, because then there would have been 2 doors, door which is main door and then the door to the bathroom, which is not allowed. So please ensure you're keeping that in mind as well. If you are taking it from home, you have to take it in a room where only 1 door is there, and that door needs to be visible. So you'll keep the laptop in such a place that you are sitting and they are able to see you, and behind you the door is also visible. Anybody here who's taking it from home, just want to understand, मैं from home बहुत बोल रहा हूँ, कोई भी है जो who's taking it from home, because these important things and these intangibles are predominantly for take from home. Just say yes if you're taking it from home. I just want to hear the yeses for those who are taking it from home. Anybody? Will be able to talk to the examiner virtually? Yes, Madhumita, yes, you will be able to. So Madhumita is saying she's taking it from home. Others, anybody else taking it from home? Yes. Okay, so there are a few of you all. So these are the important things that you need to take care of if you're taking it from home. When you go ahead and you click on begin the exam, after that a screen comes where it starts, it asks you to start the conversation, and Zoom mein the conversation starts. So Zoom will have to be there on your laptop as well if you want to take this exam from home. So keep these things in mind. If you're taking it from the center, admit card obviously, 2 ID proofs exactly the same. Please carry a photocopy of your primary ID as well. Hua kya tha? One of the students did not have a photocopy. They said we want a photocopy, and they said we don't have any provision for you to get a Xerox here. So he had to go out, get it and do it. So that's a problem. So my recommendation to you is, please go ahead and have this photocopy with you as well of at least the primary ID. And finally the confirmation email printout. Okay, so taking it at the center, these are the documents. Taking it at home, these are documents. These are difference between the documents you need to carry. Now, what are some of the things that you need to keep in mind? Obviously, as I stated, the exam can either be taken at home or it can be taken at the center. We are aware of that. Now, if you're taking it at home, what are some of the things that you need to keep with yourself to solve the paper? 2 scrap papers for rough work. Clear the desk area, very, very important. No other electronic gadget in the room. However, they did ask you to keep your mobile phone in the room at a distance so that they can see the mobile phone as well, and they know that you are not using it. So that was also something that was asked this time. At the center, admit card, ID proof, photocopy, confirmation. So these are predominantly the must-haves. Please keep this in mind. There is nothing new here, but don't forget any of these, because if you forget, they will turn around and they will irritate you for no reason. Okay, and they'll tell you, "Ye nahi kar sakte." If you are taking the exam from home, you know that the slots are different. For example, taking it from home for me was 16th to 20th, so I took 19th. So take the slot properly. Advantage of taking it from home is you can take it at any time. It's from 12 a.m. to 12 noon. So it's 24 hours at any point in time. If you're taking it from the center, many of you all had a problem, ensuring that you get the right slot you wanted. The number of, I think, slots that opened up in different cities, whether it's Delhi or Kolkata or Bangalore, were also very, very limited. So don't worry, additional slots should open, but I hope you've all gone ahead and applied whatever slot you got. Please keep in mind, it's only the first attempt that NMIMS is going to take. So hypothetically, if you're getting a slot, you're getting only one slot and that slot is tomorrow or day after, don't just randomly take it. Wait to get the right slot and, go ahead and take it properly. Also, another thing to keep in mind is, please ensure that for all the upcoming exams, you don't keep all of these important things for the last moment. Okay? ये सब last moment के लिए एकदम नहीं रखना है. ठीक है? Perfect. Few things which you should take care of if you're taking it from home is your system readiness will also be checked, webcam, speakers, and please ensure you're downloading the secure browser and checking whether that browser is downloaded on your laptop and whether it opens or not. Only then apply for take from home, otherwise don't do take from home, it will not make any sense. Okay, let's quickly move to the exam flow. When you go ahead and take the exam, if you're taking it from home, these are the steps that come up. Number one, examee snap, which is they ask you to click your picture, they ask you to click your signature and upload it. Number two, you will click on begin the scheduled exam. After that, you'll have to showcase your documents to the proctor. Documents we've already discussed what all they will be. And finally, one very, very important thing is this one. When you applied for the exam, there were a few security questions that were asked. Do you remember? You need to know the answer to the security questions. अगर security question के answer याद नहीं है, you will not be able to take this exam. So, for example, one of my security questions was, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? And generally I have two. I forgot which one, I had put in this year. So I had to try one after the other. I tried first, wo galat tha, tried second, luckily got it. And there are just 3 attempts. If you do not get it in those 3 attempts, the exam is over. They don't allow you to take it. So please go ahead, check your portal, check to see what your security questions were. और उनके answers आपने क्या दिए. वो security question है, उनके answers जानना बहुत जरूरी है, guys. This is something that they will ask. Next is they will also go ahead and ask you to sign a non-disclosure agreement and to agree to all the terms and conditions. Now this has to be done within 2 minutes. If you do not do it within 2 minutes, you will be auto signed out and your exam will be end. It will be over. So please ensure you do this. Okay, this security question for exam from home only. For home, yes, I think at the center also they might be asking. I'm not too sure, but for home it's surely there. At the center also they could go ahead and ask you. Okay. While filling the form, there were security questions there. I was asked 3 and I filled them as well. So there were security questions. Okay. You have to agree to all the conditions, as I stated, that has to be done within 2 minutes. Okay. This is there whether it's at the center or at home. NDA and agreeing to all the conditions and agreeing to all the terms within 2 minutes. And finally, you go ahead and begin the test. Secure browser will be downloaded if you're taking it at home. If you're taking it at the center, you click on begin test and it starts. When the test starts, it starts off with a tutorial. Okay. In that tutorial, you need to ensure that you go ahead and complete all the steps. There are about 7-8 slides, 7-8 pages that come. You need to go ahead and visit and look at all of them within 8 minutes that is given for the tutorial, and then the exam starts. If you do it quicker, it's okay. Center, I don't think so. Okay, so center mein they are probably not asking. Hey, there is a security. When you go ahead and you go and apply, to take your exam, the various parts you will see. I think if you go ahead into the NMAT portal, there is a section under profile. Under profile, there is a security question option. So if you've not filled it, please go ahead and fill it, because the security question will be asked at least to everybody who's taking it from home. That's important. It's imperative. It's mentioned in the mail that has come as well. Okay. At the center, Tushar, Raklej, I think he's probably taken the exam. He's stating it wasn't asked. So probably those writing it at the center, you might not be asked. But those who are taking it at home, it will surely be asked. So please go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's quickly kickstart. What was the, so we've gone ahead and we've done the exam flow. All of that takes about 15 to 20 minutes and then it starts. This is how it looks. Okay. These were the security questions that I had. If you look at it. What is your mother's maiden name? This is under the Examino section. If you look at the portal, you go to your dashboard, there is a section called Examino. Under that Examino, there are 3 security questions. If you go to your NMAT portal dashboard, you'll be able to see that. Go ahead and fill it. So what are your mother's maiden name, favorite flavor of ice cream, which city did you meet your spouse or significant other? These were 3 questions that I chose. You might have the same question or different, but the whole point, it is there. It is there in the Examino section. Okay, so I've pointed it out as well to all of you all stating I didn't get it. Please go ahead and check it on the dashboard. Okay, probably for those who are taking it at the center might not come, but those who are taking it at home, this will surely be there. So ensure you fill it up. Okay. Yep. Let's kickstart. So what are some of the instructions that you need to keep in mind? Okay. Say it is for online mode only. Yes, Mohit. So I just stated it might not be there for offline, but for online it's surely there. So you must be alone in the room throughout. You must have a clear desk and workspace. Your computer must be connected to a power source. You may not use your phone or smartwatch. You're not allowed to use more than one monitor. Webcam, speaker, screen share, microphone has to be on. You must remain within clear view. Very, very simple things. I've already spoken about all of that. I'm not getting into all of this. This is something which is common at the center and at home. So please keep this in mind. They will go ahead and check all of this with you. These are basic instructions, so don't worry about it. One thing for those who are taking it at home, ensure no other tab is open, ensure no other app is open, because they'll ask you to check open the task manager and see what all is open on your computer and shut everything down. Let's go ahead and let's kickstart. Let's move into the interface of the exam. So the interface is something that you're aware of. You first need to pick your attempt sequence. Now there are obviously 6 possibilities. There are 3 sections. So 3 factorial 6 possibilities. Be very clear on what your attempt sequence needs to be. Karna kya hota hai? The section names are here. LS, LR samjho. And then here is 1, 2, 3. There are these boxes. Okay. This is how it is. You need to click on this. And while clicking it, drag it to the box you want to move it. So say I want to click on it and drag QA to 2, it will move to 2. Click on LS, drag it to here, it will move here. Click on this, drag it here, it will move here. Okay. So click and drag. That's also not very clearly mentioned. So you might think, mereko karna kya? You need to click it and drag it. Okay. That's the basic funda. As simple as that. There is no question palette. Now in this exam, you need to know one important thing, which is you have to attempt one question before you can move to the other. You can't skip questions. It's not that you're in question 2, you want to go to question 8. I'll just click on the question palette, move to question 8 and I'm done. That is incorrect. You can't do that. You will not be able to do it. You have to move one question at a time. Okay. Now, if you move one question at a time, it means that you don't basically need a question palette. Until you do not answer that question, you can't move to the next one. Okay, so there is no question palette at all. And finally, if on a screen, imagine, there is a DI set. Okay, and say there are 2, for example, I had a DI set where there was a pie chart and there was a bar graph. Okay, there were 2 parts to it. And in order to see the entire set, I needed to scroll. Now, if I do not scroll down completely, right, there is a pop-up that comes which states, there is information missing. You've not scrolled down completely. You've not looked at the entire paper. So please go ahead and look at it. Now, that's very irritating because while you need to look at it initially to solve the entire set, once you have solved the set, then also for every question when you go ahead and answer, it keeps asking you to scroll up and down, scroll up and down. So you end up losing precious seconds to just scroll up and down before answering, even though you've just solved the entire set. Gurupriya is asking, can't we go back and change the answer if we want to? No, you can't. It's an adaptive test. Once you've submitted an answer, you can't go back. It's done. Okay, so you can't do that. What sequence do you suggest is the best? Well, my recommendation for the sequence is dependent on how I go about it. My point is, if you look at the timing, you know that when it comes to LR, you have 40 minutes. When it comes to LS, you have 28. When it comes to Quant, you have 52 minutes. I like to start with LR, 40 minutes, so that, I'm not too worried about time. It's not that, I need to go at a very brisk pace. I need to solve 1.5 questions in every minute or something like that. I need to start with LR. Plus, mind is also open. Verbal reasoning is something which is the most tricky part of this paper. Statement assumption, statement conclusion, statement inference, and those sort of questions. Arguments, strengthening and weakening, and all of that. So I really like to go ahead and kickstart with LR. Okay. Oh, my team is telling me not enough likes. Go ahead and like the session, guys. Jaldi jao. On YT, go ahead and like it. Okay, coming back to this. I like to start with LR. From LR, I like to move to QA. The reason is very, very simple. LR के बाद QA acts as a relaxant for me. 52 minutes, 36 questions, about a minute and a half per question. So it is very, very important for me to go ahead and look at it. Calamity. Where am I leading the chat from? I'm reading the chat on the app. It's a multi-stream session, BYJU'S Exam Prep app. We've got loads of students here, roughly 300 on the app who are viewing it. So that's where I'm getting the questions from. So I go to Quant. Sir, can we revisit the question? No, you can't, Aditya. You can't revisit. So I go to Quant after LR. Quant helps me relax a little. I'm not, in a worry with respect to my speed. And finally, I move to LS. Predominantly because LS is very, very grammar heavy. Spot the error, prepositions, fill in the blanks. All of this is a lot of grammar. Almost 50% of the paper is grammar, and grammar does not take any time. Plus, I feel I'm decent at grammar. Coming from ICSC, grammar is something that, if it sounds correct, it is correct. That's what I believe. So English has generally been a strong point when it comes to the NMAT exam or any exam which is very grammar heavy. So I like to do LS right towards the end because I know grammar won't take any time and I can chill and just focus on the para jumbles and focus on the RCs. Okay, as simple as that. Okay. I give my NMAT exam on 18th October, scored 249. 249 is a good score. Expect a call from NM Mumbai if you're clearing the sectionals. Okay? So that's the order that I would recommend, LR, Quant, LS, but you don't have to do that. You can do any order that you are comfortable with. Okay? Next one, going back to the previous question is not allowed. So please keep that in. So can't we skip question, come back? No, you can't do all of that, Gaurav. Let me explain. Question 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do not answer question 1, you can't look at any of this. You have to answer question 1. You can't say, I will not answer question 1, but I will skip to 3. You can't do that. You can't say, okay, I'm at 3. I suddenly realized I made a mistake in question 1. I'll go back to question 1. You can't do that. All of that is not permitted. Okay? All of that is not permitted. So you have to answer a question and move. Imagine there is a question which comes from a topic you have no idea about. Just answer something randomly. Answer C, D, move ahead. There is no negative marking in this paper. So just answer something and do it. I did it. Out of the 108 questions that were there, okay, out of the 108 questions that were there, in Quant I would have guessed roughly about 6, 7. In LR I would have guessed almost 10. In verbal I probably guessed 1 or 2. So you can see about 18 guesses is what I put in as well. 90 serious attempts, 18 guesses. So that probably worked for me. In those 90 serious attempts, even if I got 5, 6 wrong, that is still about 85 correct and then 18. And I scored way above 270. So I know that it worked for me. I also made a few errors purposely to ensure that to check whether the paper is adaptive or not. So for example, there were Quant questions. I purposely made an error in the Quant question and the next question was actually tougher than the previous one, which helped me understand that it's not an adaptive paper. Bolne ka adaptive hai. Okay. What score did you get? I scored 275. Okay enough. Decent score. But that's not important. The important part of this is going ahead and seeing what it is that the paper entails, which is why I'm saying that, it is not an adaptive paper. That's a guarantee. Okay, it's not adaptive. Why? I purposely made an error. Next question was tougher. In an adaptive paper, the next question will become easier or at the same level. Sahil, UBS Mumbai depends on other options at hand. I wouldn't put it as an aspirational college at this point in time. Apply, write all your exams. If nothing else happens, then come here. Then look at UBS Mumbai. For now, don't look at it. Oh, if it is not adaptive, how does it work, sir? When I say not adaptive means it is not that, the first question is easy, second is slightly tougher and tougher and tougher. वो नहीं है. Adaptive calculation at the back end एकदम है, which means you need to ensure that the first few questions, you get them all correct because that is something that will help you. I will talk a little bit more about adaptive and what question numbers you need to focus on and everything later on in the session. Let's quickly move ahead to the exam analysis. Is 74 QA, 92 LR, 83 VA fine? It looks okay. QA just might be slightly slightly borderline. Last year was 69, year before that was 72, 73. I think Quant this year was slightly easier, so it might be slightly borderline, but I think it will be safe. I think you don't need to really worry about. So paper pattern. Paper pattern is along expected lines. Okay, 36 question every section. Madhumita, hi, I'm taking it before CAT. Attempted one NMAT official. I got score of 230. Percentile was not displayed. It's safe. Percentile does not matter in NMAT. All you need to look at is score. Aim for 235 plus and you should be fine. I will get into all the cutoffs and everything. Do not worry. Okay. Congratulations. Hope you get admission into a good B school. Thanks, Shivam. At 275, I'm quite confident of getting admission into NM Mumbai, but not really looking at a second MB. And if I am, I'm not really looking at going to NM Mumbai after having done what I've done. So, but yeah, jokes aside, the basic funda at the end of the day is the reason why we take it is because if we don't take it, if we don't score, we will not be able to go ahead and give you proper inputs on what needs to be done, right? And which is why, you know, as I said, made a couple of errors to even see ki wo hai ki nahi adaptive and all of that. Time limits, you're aware of 28, 40, 52. According to me, the level of difficulty, I would say English easy to moderate. The difficult part was vocab. Words were not easy. The words mentioned were slightly tricky. So you needed to understand basis the tone and you needed to eliminate basis that. But jo bhi mere guesses guy 2, 3 in verbal were all related to the vocab questions because the grammar, the RCs were simple. There was nothing to worry about. Logical reasoning, moderate. I would say the verbal reasoning part was not easy. A lot of questions on statement conclusion, two types predominantly. One, statement given, which of the conclusions follow. Second, conclusion given and they are asking you which of the following statements would the above be a conclusion to. So it's a very different type of a conclusion thing which has not come before. We'll talk about that later as well. Quant, according to me, moderate. The DI sets, one set was very easy. Second set was a little time consuming. I got just 2 DI sets, not 3. So if you think you're strong at DI, you can probably look at maximizing those 8 questions and remaining do the rest. One difference basis last year was there were a lot of number based questions this year, slightly lesser modern math questions, which was the interchange of last year. We'll get to that when we get into the sectional part. Okay. Is there some OBC quota in NMIMS? No, there is no quota. You will get NM Mumbai for sure. Okay, thanks Mohit for that. Overall, moderate, slightly lengthy than last year. But I'm also stating, even though it is slightly lengthy than last year, I do think that scaling is actually working in students' favor. While you would see a couple of others on YouTube coming out and stating scaling is not working, mera kam ho gaya scale and all, I think the paper overall was very similar to last year and scaling is actually moving slightly more than what it was last year, just because it has become slightly more standardized. Like the GMAT exam, where it's not dependent on number of people writing the exam in that slot and so on and so forth. Because so many people have written NMAT under GMAC over the last 2 to 3 years, it's become much more standardized and it's become easier to get marks and to understand how scaling operates. So hopefully that will work in your favor. Okay, perfect. Let's move and have a look at the quantitative skill section, the QS section. So if I'm looking at the paper breakup in terms of the topics, now one thing which I'm going to go ahead and tell you is, because of the non-disclosure agreement, I will not go ahead and tell you the exact questions that came, but we can surely tell you which topics to focus on, what kind of concepts that you need to work towards and all of that, and I'll talk about that as I get into it. As you can see, if I'm comparing it to last year, more or less similar hai. DI same hai, arithmetic 1 question more, this is same, data sufficiency same. This is where it changes. 11 in modern math and number system last year was 9 plus 2. This year it's 4 plus 7. There were a lot of questions in numbers. So many of you all who might be thinking I'm not doing numbers for CAT, don't leave out numbers and modern math when it comes to NMAT for sure. This is a very, very important topic. As you can see, 11 out of 36, almost 30% of your paper is modern math and number systems. Very, very important. So it has to be done. Predominant concepts under number system, and I've put it in the next slide to make it easier for you to understand what to focus on. If you look at it from the perspective of numbers, HCF, LCM, factors, divisibility and properties of numbers. Understanding odd, even, understanding properties, understanding HCF, LCM, divisibility rule, factors and so on and so forth. All of that is important. Now I have a few examples here with me. For example, I'll give you a question. Say there was a question something like this. I'm not giving the exact question. Okay? Say 2 is greater than A, comma B is greater than say 10. And then I say B is equal to 2A minus 3, hypothetically. Okay. And I say that the difference between A and B or whatever, A minus B, ya fir B minus, sorry, because I stated this. let's say b minus a is a multiple of 2, hypothetically. Okay, and b is equal to 2a minus 3, b minus a is a multiple of 2. Then they turn around and they ask you which of the following could be the value of a into b, when you know a and b are between 2 to 10. So this is an example of a kind of question that came up, not the exact question. This is an example of the kind of question that came up. Okay, understood? So this is one. So this I would put directly here because ये properties के अंदर ही आता है. This is basic simple number understanding. There is no rocket science here. Okay, so that question was there. Then numbers में there were a few more simple questions that came in numbers. For example, there was one question on divisibility. There was a question which went like, I think 30 to the power of 5 minus 1920. Which of the following numbers will divide this? 30 to the power of 5 minus 1920, which of the following numbers will divide this? अब 30 to the power of 5 मुझे पता है क्या है, it is 243, right? And 5 zeros, 1 2 3 4 5. इसमें से 1920 जब निकाल लोगे, you will check the last 3 digits, and the last 3 digits would be something like 808 or 080, something like that. Then you will check for divisibility of 8, divisibility of 16 and stuff like that. Options में जाओगे, you will see that divisibility of 8, there was only one option which satisfied that, and that is the answer. So it was a question on divisibility. Okay, something as simple as that, no rocket science, basic stuff. A lot of questions came from properties from here. Clear? Okay. Yes, non-disclosure agreement, that you will not go out and disclose anything about the exam. So I'm not disclosing the same question. I'm disclosing different questions, just inspired question. What are the kind of questions that came? Just so that I help you understand what topics to focus on. Okay. Factors and divisibility spoken. HCF, LCM also simple questions. Y is equal to LCM of X and 3240, and Y is also equal to the HCF of something and something. So what is the value of Y? So basic concept of LCM and HCF. Okay. Clear? So those were the questions that came in numbers. Modern math, once again, there were questions on cards. There are you need to pick up 2 cards. How can you? What is the probability that both cards will be from different suits? Something like that. I'm not saying exactly that, but something like that. Okay, those kind of questions. There was a question on permutation combination as well, which is what I just stated. Then there was a question on probability as well, which was also very, very simple. There are some 10 things and you need to pick up 3 things. So in how many ways you will be able to do it if you know that this one thing will always be picked up? That was the funda. Then there was something about tossing of a fair coin. You toss it 5 times and 3 of them are head, and at least 3 are head, and those at least whenever that happens, the 3 heads always come together. So what is the probability of this happening? So those sort of questions came. Not this exact question, but these sort of questions came. When it comes to algebra, well, there was a series question, something like say 1 plus 2x plus 3x squared plus 4x cubed, so on and so forth. And they stated what will be the value of this series till n terms. So the best way to go about it is, there were 4 options, or rather 5 options. Just substitute n equals 1 in the options. If you substitute n equals 1, the answer should be 1, because the value till the first term is only 1. So all you needed to do was just substitute n equal 1 in the options, and one of them would satisfy. So that could be the way to solve it. Log question was also very, very simple. Basic concept of log a by b. Iska concept tha. As simple as that. So nothing much to worry about. SICI question, well, this was not difficult, very simple question, but calculation intensive. The calculation wasn't easy. For example, $1,700 you have borrowed at compound interest, compounded semi-annually at say 14% per annum, and another person has borrowed a similar amount of money, but you don't know the rate, but the interest that they will earn is same as the interest that was earned by you in that compound, under compounding. So what is the simple interest at which he earned that? So SICA ka basic concept question, nothing very, very difficult. Percentages, there were a lot of questions. On successive, increase, decrease. When I say lot of, I mean 1 or 2. So increase, decrease. Second, there was a very conceptual question. The price of a article is A, and then you increase it by 2%. And then suddenly the value of the article has become this. Now, what will be the value of the article if you actually decrease it by 8%? Those sort of questions. Okay. Total marks of NMAT is 360, 120, 120, 120. Cutoff is generally about 235. Okay. Sir, in all the slots, the difficulty level, topics from which questions came will be similar. Yes, absolutely similar. It's a very, very standardized exam ever since it has come under GMAC. Okay, so you don't need to worry about all of that. Clear? Okay. Time and work question was simple. Ratio proportion questions are also very simple. Imagine I say physics, chemistry and biology में तुम्हारे marks है, and I tell you that the ratio between physics and biology is say whatever 3:2, and then I tell you that the ratio between chemistry and biology is say 4:3, and then I give you the value of one of them. Okay, sorry, then I give you the total marks, say whatever 100, and then I ask you, so what is the difference between the marks scored by me in biology and physics? So something very, very simple question related to ratios. Data interpretation, 2 questions, 1 table, 1 pie chart and bar graph. The pie chart and bar graph predominantly was very, very simple. Imagine a pie chart given. उस pie chart के अंदर imagine they are talking about people working in different fields, and one of these segments is people working in sports. Then they will go ahead and they will give you a bar graph, and they will say right at the beginning they told you number of people working in cricket is say 100, number of people working in football is say 200, and then they will tell you the percentage of people working in analytics in cricket versus the total number of people working in cricket is given by this, and the percentage of people working in analytics in football versus the total number of people working in football is given by this. And similarly, then this would be coach, this would be player, and so on and so forth, and they would give you basic questions related to that. So not very complicated, very, very simple. Isse you will get the total number of people playing sports, isse you will get the value of those playing in football and those playing in cricket, and simple questions related to that. So that's predominantly it when it comes to DI, arithmetic, algebra, modern math and numbers. Data sufficiency questions also not very difficult. As you can see, there is nothing that came from geometry. Even data sufficiency didn't come from geometry. It was predominantly number based, algebra and arithmetic based. So no rocket science in this exam. If you have been preparing for CAT and you write adequate number of NMAT mocks. Another thing to notice, now we've already given you 5 mocks. The next 3 mocks, mock 6, 7 and 8 are actually going to be based on my experience of the exam and what the kind of questions that came. So I would urge everybody to write mock 6, 7 and 8 whenever you take it. If your exam is too early and you might not be able to take it, at least write 1 to 5 and keep these points in mind. Okay, perfect. Let's move ahead. Any questions related to quant, guys? Any questions related to quant? What is the most probable option to attempt? आ गए ना, मैं इस पे आऊंगा. So I'll tell you the way I went about it in all my guesses. I think I had about 18 guesses and I'm quite sure at least 8, 9 of them turned out to be correct. 50% because of the score. Like I said, my serious attempts were close to about 90. Usme I would have gotten, I purposely made an error in about 2, 3 of them and I would have gotten at least 4, 5 more wrong, normal insan. So even if I get say 80, 82 right, that's still a 246, I scored 275, almost a 30 mark difference. So at least 8, 9 should have worked out in my guesses. Now, according to me, the way to go about guesses is, in the serious attempts that you are having, look at which option is coming the most. Now, generally, I always say C maro, I'm from C hamesha chalta hai mere liye, this and that. But this year I realized I was getting a lot of answers which were D and I marrowed D. I actually went ahead and attempted D and I'm quite sure at least 50% of those turned out. So I should surely state that. If quant is an area of weakness, which topics to focus on, I think this should give you a very clear-cut indicator on what to focus on. I would state ensure कि तब DI में वो 8 questions आप जरूर करो seriously, so that those 8 are handled. Then it's up to you. If you've been preparing enough in arithmetic, then you know arithmetic you will get 9, 10 questions. So you should surely do that. Numbers questions are easy, but if your concepts are not there, then you might not find enough time to go ahead and do that. My suggestion would be, in the pre-recorded videos, the async videos that I've recorded for you, go ahead and at least go through these topics, which is factors, divisibility, HCF, LCM and properties of numbers. There'll be 6, 7 those videos. If you just do that, practice a little, I think it should be enough to be able to answer the numbers oriented questions. So if you can do arithmetic, numbers and DI, I think you are comfortably safe to be able to attempt roughly about 25 questions. 10 there, 7 here, 8 there, 25. उसमें से 22, 23 भी seriously कर लोगे. बाकी 10, 11 if you guess, you should hopefully get somewhere around the 75 mark thing. So that's what I would recommend. So to those asking what did I guess D because a lot of my answers were turning out to be D. Okay, so please pay attention to which answer key you are getting the most answers as, and probably go ahead and do that. Okay. Language skills. Now, language skills again, we know there are 36 questions and 28 minutes. Last year also there were 8 questions in RC. This year also that is there, which basically means they've reduced the focus on RC over the last 2 years, predominantly because they are timing you and they know that reading RCs takes time. Okay, so they've ensured that there are just 2 RCs. The good part about that, what I generally recommend is, one RC you can do seriously, second RC you can guess. Okay, you can guess everything and move on. At least one RC you can do seriously. If you look at this error detection, FIB preposition, FIB के अंदर also roughly about 4-5 questions and error detection के 8 questions. These 12 to 13 questions, they are all grammar. So grammar is very, very important, especially prepositions. Please read grammar. Please attempt all topic tests of grammar on the app. Do grammar very, very well. Grammar is very important in this exam. At least 1/3, I would say 40% of the paper is grammar. Okay, it's very, very important. Okay. Any topics that will not come in the upcoming slots? Yeah, according to me, there is not a lot of geometry that has come. I've seen with others as well who've been in these slots over the last 10 days. So I would say probably geometry ज़्यादा नहीं आएगा. If vocab is not strong, what strategy to pick? यार vocab की ज़्यादा tension नहीं है. Even if it is not strong ना, of the vocab based questions, let's just have a look here. Analogy के 8 questions and 5 here. 13 vocab. Okay. Out of these 13, 7-8 questions, you will know the words. And even if you don't know the words, you will understand positive and negative. Kya tone hai? You will understand that. You will look at the question, you will understand, okay, if I'm looking at the question, these are opposites. And if I'm looking at the options, मेरे को तो अगर similar, चाहिए spirit में, I need all the ones which are similar. Synonymous. So I will look at the options and I will see which of them are synonymous and which are not. Synonymous एक होंगे, बाकी सारे अलग होंगे. So tone से वो पता चल जाएगा. The problem is predominantly with 5-6 questions in vocab, जहाँ पे you won't know the words. I wouldn't worry too much about them. Those 5-6 you don't need to worry too much about. Just guess everything. सब में D अभी mark कर दो. 1 or 2 will turn out to be right. These 7-8 you should be able to do. As I said, if you are able to do grammar well, if you are able to do parajumbles well, which are very, very easy, they were not difficult, these 17 and at least 1 RC, 21, if you are able to do these 21, 22 questions well, and have 90% accuracy, the remaining questions you mark all D or all B or all C, you will get at least 4-5 right. That means you will get in the vicinity of about 26-27 right, which means you will clear the sectional cutoff, which is about 76. So if you are one of those who feels verbal is not my area of strength, that would be the way that you go about it. Okay. Logical reasoning, when we get them, Madhumita asked me, I'm not looking at it right now. Okay. So this is predominantly what came. 2 RCs came, importance of culture and coral reefs and why they are declining. This passage was easy. There were about 5 paragraphs. Each paragraph was giving one reason as to why it is declining, and each question was on one reason. So it became very easy to do it. Importance of culture was also very, very simple. This was a paragraph that I did not read, and I looked at the questions and I came back to it, and the order of the questions was in the order of the paragraphs. So it became very easy for me to solve this RC without even reading the passage first. So I was able to solve the RC in roughly about 2.5-3 minutes, get 4 questions done. All 4 sentence parajumbles that came for me, not very difficult. Getting one pair and you were able to do it. In 3 of those questions, one pair, getting the pair and you were able to answer in one of them, that pair was there in multiple options. So you just needed to think a little. And we've discussed FIBs and error detection. Error detection was very, very important. Okay. Error detection is all grammar and nothing else. So I will once again repeat, grammar pe jitna focus kar sakte ho karo. Grammar is the be all and the end all of this exam. Okay. Okay, let's move and let's have a look at the logical reasoning section. In logical reasoning, if a candidate does better in verbal, do you think the system gives more than verbal? I didn't understand. Madhumita, if the candidate does better in verbal reasoning, do you think the system will give more in verbal? No. I think everybody, it is pre-decided. That if there are 36 questions, okay, roughly the division would be 16 plus 20 or 18 plus 18. I got 18 plus 18 is as verbal reasoning and analytical reasoning. Okay. Should we study TSD? I didn't get any questions of TSD, Carlton. And even if it comes, I think it will be very, very simple. I hope you are studying TSD for CAT because it's important. If you're doing that, it's enough. If you're not doing it, you can leave TSD. Aayega to you'll get 1 or 2 questions. Okay. What topics of grammar? Everything in grammar, everything. But predominantly prepositions. This is very, very important. Prepositions pe you will directly get at least 4 questions. Then you should look at subject verb agreement. You should look at object of a sentence. You should look at conjunctive and subjective nouns. Focus on these sort of things. You should know basic thing. For example, in spot the error, one of my questions, one of the underlined parts was comprises of. Now you all know that this exam comprises 3 sections. It does not comprise of 3 sections. This exam comprises of 3 sections is incorrect English, but colloquially many people state comprises of. So comprises of was underlined and that was incorrect. So those sort of things, colloquial language incorrect usage is something there were a lot of questions on. Okay. Okay, sir, what would you rate NMAT and CAT on a scale of 1 to 10 on base of difficulty? NMAT is not a difficult exam at all. I don't even think CAT is a difficult exam. CAT time, especially if you understand that you need 50% of the questions that you need to do correctly. I would say CAT on a level of difficulty is about 6.5 probably, level of difficulty, and NMAT on level of difficulty would probably be about a 5. CAT would probably be 6.57. The level of difficulty of CAT reduces the moment you realize, for me, it's not a 66 question paper, right? It's okay if it is, I look at it at 33. For level of difficulty for ZAT, I would say about 7.5 to 8. Let's say 8. Level of difficulty for ZAT. But there also, if you realize 165 minutes, I have a lot of time to solve every question. It's not very difficult. Again, I'm just basing it like this. Ab ye mat bol dena, what is the level of difficulty of IIT JEE? I'm not sitting here doing a level of difficulty analysis across exams, but just to give you a little bit of context. Okay. Okay. So coming to verbal reasoning, which I'll start off with. If you look at verbal reasoning, predominantly 3-4 types that you need to look at. 6 questions on statement, assumption, and conclusion. 5 questions on course of action, 6 questions on strong and weak argument. Statement, assumption, statement, conclusion. I think I got 2 in statement assumption. 2 I got statement conclusion where the statement was given and they asked which of the conclusions are possible. 2 I got where the conclusion was given and then below that they gave 3 statements and they state which of these statements could the above be a conclusion to. And then options, only statement 1, only statement 2, only statement 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, that kind. So there were 2 to 2 is how I would break it up. Course of action questions were very, very important, about 4 or 5 of them that came. What would be a logical course of action after this? And now this course of action is also very, very similar to DM. Right? DM mein what you will find in decision making in ZAT is something you will find here as course of action as well. So those of you who are worried कि DM में क्या होगा ZAT का, don't worry. At least roughly 25% of ZAT questions in DM are course of action, and course of action you're all doing it for NMAT and you know that it's not very difficult. Okay, what will be the logical course of action basis this? For example, when I'm traveling in Bangalore, I realize that the auto walas don't go by the meter. They say that the reason for doing this is because the petrol rates are very high. And then 3 statements. The government should reduce petrol rates. People should not pay heed to the petrol walas, use some other mode of transport. Third, the government should focus on some other mode of transport. Option 1, which of the following is the logical course of action? Only statement 1, only 2, only 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. Those sort of questions, okay? I'm just giving you an example. Obviously, something like that, okay? Same in Delhi. अरे मैंने तो एक example random उठा के बोल दिया. Delhi and Bangalore की बात नहीं है. I just gave you an example just to help you understand what course of action is like. ठीक है? One question on decision making, very, very simple. It was something like you're in your office, your reportee and your peer, they have an argument, reportee complaints and the peer is also your friend. HR is calling you, what will you do? Not go for the HR meeting, tell her openly that it is your friend, talk to both of them together separately. Those sort, basic DM. This is not the question that came to me, but basic DM question. Nothing rocket science, very, very simple. And one question, it might not come in other slots as well, okay? Sir, but this kind of question may differ in perceptions. Obviously it differs in perceptions. Obviously, which is why decision making is also a very, very difficult section in ZAT, right? Because what the ZAT authority and the paper setter might consider correct, I might not consider correct, or you might not consider correct. It's completely perception based, but still it comes in the exam, and so you need to hope that your perception is same as the perception of a paper setter, which is why the funda that we always state is first think ethically, then think logically, and finally look at all players or all parties involved, and the outcome should impact all 3 in the correct manner. These are the 3 things to keep in mind in course of action and decision making questions. Okay, so keep that in mind. I will also be recording a few decision making questions, a few decision making videos, post cat, which you all can find, specifically for DM of ZAT. So it will be there on the app, so you can go ahead and do it. What are the topics must do in algebra? I would say log is must do, series is must do. These two you should surely do, and equations, either a quadratic or higher order or simple equation. Ye 3 kar loge, that should suffice. Okay. Perfect. If I'm looking at it in terms of analytical reasoning, what are the kind of questions that came? Syllogs have been put here. I would put syllogs in verbal reasoning as well, but okay. One question on syllogs, very simple. Input, output, 2 sets, 4 questions each. I did one seriously, one I just guessed randomly, all D. Input, output, I want you to keep your mind open to 2 concepts. There are 2 concepts. Number 1, say there is an input step, then there is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. Okay? And this step 5 you could consider as output. Now, one is that each of these steps is related to the previous step. That is one sort of question that comes. The second sort of question that comes is, first step is related to previous, second is related to previous, third previous, but fourth is related to the previous 2. And fifth is related to the previous along with the first step. So always keep your eyes open. It's not always just related to the step before. It could be related to the step before and a step before that as well. Sum of all 3, or double the previous step minus the input step, or triple the previous step minus double the second step minus 1 time the first step, those sort of things. So those are the 2 kinds that you need to look at it. Is it important to do the system readiness check? Yes, it is important, because if the system readiness is not there, then you will not be able to take the exam in this system, and the proctor will just cancel it. You in order to reschedule, you'll need to pay more money. So please check whether your system is fine and whether you can take the exam there or not. Okay. Logical Venn diagram तो बहुत simple होता है. You know that they do this, right? They create this, and then they will put 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 14, and they will say circle means engineers, triangle means above the age of 30, rectangle will mean married, and square will mean and have a child. So how many engineers above the age of 30 who are married and have a child? That will be this one. How many engineers above the age of 30 who are not married? So that will be which one, and so on and so forth. So logical Venn diagram like this. One simple LR set, it was almost like I watch a movie a day. There are 7 days. From Monday I start watching a movie, and one of them is a rest day, and they gave you 5-6 statements that I watch a detective movie 2 days after I have watched hypothetically say an action movie, and I watch an adventure movie 1 day before an action movie, and something like that. And you needed to find which movie you're watching which day. Very simple LR set, 6-7 statements. It will take you 4-5 minutes to solve, and 4 questions with it, which you could have easily done. Okay, so keep an eye out on that. Missing number, again, something like square बना दिया, फिर उसके अंदर ऐसे कुछ कर दिया. For example, say they did this, then there is a number here, x, y, z, a, and then there is a value here. So they will give you this for 2, and they will ask you for the third. It could be this into this plus this into this. It could be this into this minus this into this, whatever. There'll be something like that happening. It could be this to the power of this minus this to the power of this, something like that. So those were the missing number question. And singlet was normal position. Where am I? So many people standing in a row, starting say, ending say, where am I standing? How many people between me, and stuff like that. So those were predominantly the kind of questions that came in LR. Not very, very difficult. Exactly what you would expect. Okay? SSC like logical reasoning. Exactly, Shivam. SSC like logical reasoning. Absolutely right. Okay. What are the kind of cutoffs that we've seen over the years? As you can see, last year, NMIMS Mumbai MBA, which is score was 232. My expectation, it will be similar. Aim for 235 plus, and you have a good chance of doing well. So basically all of them, I would say 235 plus kar lo. Business analytics, and this was 225, so aim for 228 plus. Look at 2-3 additional marks. It just gives you a little. Pharma was 185, so look at 190 plus. NMIMS Bangalore was about 224, so look at 227 plus. Hyderabad, look at 210 plus. Indore, look at 210 plus. Navi Mumbai, again, I would say similar to Bangalore, look at 227 plus. So this is what my recommendations would be. The cutoffs could be similar also, but if you ensure that you go ahead and do this, you will be very, very safe. You will be confident that I'm going to get a call and मेरे को tension की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Okay? Sectional cutoff जानना है? I'm not getting any responses. Are people there? Are you there? Is this helping? Should we move to the sectional cutoffs? Yes, no, wanting to hear both on YT and the app. Those on YT, go like the session first before I move ahead. Quickly. Should I move to the sectional cutoffs? किसी को जानना भी है कि नहीं जानना है? Okay, the yeses have started. Finally, जिंदा हो गए लोग. Come on, keep replying. You know I operate on that. Okay. So, according to me, the sectional cutoffs, as I stated, Quant, according to me, is slightly easier this year. So, I would say aim for a 72, 73 plus. I don't think it might go to 76. I think it will be lower, but 72, 73 के आसपास तो कर लेना. Logical reasoning, aim similar. Aim for 73 plus. Language skills, aim for 76 plus is what I would state. So, I would state 3 marks here additional, 2 marks here additional. Okay, there is no theta that comes in NMAT. NMAT is completely MCQ. Okay, no theta that comes here. Overall, look at 235 plus. Okay, this is the cutoff for NMIMS Mumbai in terms of sectional cutoffs. Let's look at sectional cutoffs for others. Once again, I would say जो भी यहाँ दिख रहा है ना, do a +2 and you should feel comfortable. But I don't think any sectional cutoff will go beyond 76. So less than equal to 76 is fine, but do a +2 to what you see here. +2 to +3. Clear? Clear? Sir, how many questions to attempt to clear sectional cutoff? Okay. So I've just given you marks, so that should help you. But on an average, if you do serious 22 to 23 attempts, serious. Sorry, my bad. I was saying 22, 23 correct. If you do serious say 25, 26 attempts and say get 21, 22 correct, that means say you score about 65 basis seriousness. The remaining 10, 11 you guess, you get even 3 correct, you'll be able to do it. So my recommendation is 25, 26 serious attempts. Okay. 25, 26 here. If I did not score well, should I choose IBS Mumbai? Too early, Nilesh. You have SNAP coming, you have CAT coming, you ZAT, you've got TISNET, you've got MHCT, you've got multiple exams. Too early to settle at this point in time. I'm sure you'll do better in few others. In SNAP, aim for a 33, 34 plus. You might get SIIB, SCMHRD, SIBM Bangalore and so on and so forth. Too early to settle for IBS Mumbai at this time. Okay? Okay, so that's predominantly how you should go ahead and look at the cutoffs. Now let's move to the strategy, okay? What are some of the things that I would recommend you should go ahead and do? Now, first and foremost, you need to come up with your strategy, which is what is my strength? How do I identify that and how do I play to it? So the first part is going to be play to your strength. Second is ensure that adaptive works for you. I'll tell you exactly how adaptive operates, even though it's not adaptive in terms of level of difficulty, it is adaptive in terms of scoring. So how that works for you and what is it that you need to keep in mind? So NMIMS General MBA cutoff, I have pointed it out, na, Mohit, 235 plus, I just told you. And what is the attempt order? I've already told you the attempt order that I would recommend. And then my last few tips and what are the things to keep in mind. Now, play to your strength, there are two kinds. Either you are a quantitative, person very confident of quantitative, or you're a person who's very, very confident of verbal. You have to be one of the two. If you're neither, then it's a problem because then nothing is your area of strength. So you have to be one of the two. Now, if I'm confident about quant, I would ensure between quant and verbal combined, I'm scoring roughly around 165. 83 plus 81 bhi agar le lo, 164, roughly scoring around 165. I know 235 chahiye, that means 70 more is needed, I clear overall, but I know sectional cutoff for verbal has been around 76. So all I want is just to clear the sectional cutoff, score 76 to 78 in verbal and you're good to go and you will do well. Which means if quant is your area of strength, between quant and logical reasoning, look at around 83 and 85. Oh, first slide mein there was an error, 81 tha. 83 and 85, which means 168. And uske साथ 78 add कर दो, which is just more than sectional cutoff. You're looking at a score of about 246, which should be very, very comfortable. Okay, that's the method to go about it. If you are strong at quant, 83 and 85. Ye 83 mein what will you do? You will focus on analytical reasoning. That will have about 18 to 20 questions. In those 18 questions, try getting 16 right. That means 48 ka score analytical reasoning se aa gaya. Remaining, you are just looking at 30, 33 from verbal reasoning. So focus on analytical reasoning if you are a quant oriented person. Okay, cool. Then move to quantitative aptitude. As I said, you look at 85. Now, if this is an exam that you're focusing on very, very seriously, first and foremost, I would recommend, I hope you've enrolled and you're in the OMAT course, go through all the videos which are there. Which you can see on your app. I have already pointed out the important topics. So for example, all the important topics I've pointed out, go through every single pre-recorded video of that. attempt every topic test of easy and moderate of that particular topic. 1 month mein ye pura karo and write all the 8 NMAT mocks, 5 which are already there, 3 which will come over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks. If you do all of this, you should be comfortable and you should be confident enough of scoring 240 plus. Okay? Next strategy is, yaar, if I am somebody who is oriented to verbal, which means verbal is my area of strength. If verbal is your area of strength, grammar, PJs, RCs, इनको जब आप combine करोगे, there are 25 questions. No reason you don't get at least 22 to 23 of this right. And the remaining 10 questions, you can surely get about 4 or 5 right minimum. If verbal is your strength, minimum that much can happen. That means you're looking at aram se about 28, 29 correct. Right? The others, if you are guessing a little and you get 1 or 2 more right, if verbal is your area of strength, you should surely be looking at a score of 90 plus in verbal. I myself ended up scoring about 97 in verbal. Okay, scored 90 plus in quant as well. LR is where it was slightly dicey. It was just about 86, 87. So something there, because I think LR is the toughest, because verbal reasoning is not easy. But verbal is something you need to focus on. Okay, so how do you increase speed? Through practice. There is only one way in which you can increase speed: practice. Ensure every single topic test of easy and moderate level is solved for the topics that I've stated. If you've practiced enough, speed will automatically be there. And this is not too speed intensive an exam. As I stated, in every section, you can end up guessing 8 to 10 questions. Even if you guess about 24 questions and say you guess all D, there is a very high chance you will get about 6-7 of them right at least. Even if you get 6 right and the remaining questions, which is 108 minus 24, which is 84 questions, usme even if you get say 75 correct, you are scoring 225 there and 6 here 18, you will be scoring about 243. So those that you attempt seriously, wahan pe you want 90% accuracy. And then others which you are just guessing, you are okay with the 20-25% because luck will work for you when you answer all of them the same. Which is why I would say focus more on which option is coming out to be right most often, and that is the one you should mark. Okay. Language skills, if you're looking at it, well, my recommendation is there, as I stated, 90 plus, look at about 95, and here you will look at verbal reasoning working for you. So once again 81, मैं logical reasoning में ज़्यादा high किसी के लिए hope नहीं कर रहा. I'm stating at keeping it stable at about 81-82 marks. I am stating this is where you need to go ahead and do it, which is language skills. When you add both of them, you're looking at already about 176. Then you just need to clear the cutoff in quant, which means you score 72, 73 also it will be done. So aim for about a 75 in quant, and you'll end up scoring a 250 plus. So you need to identify your strategy, whether it's a quant driven strategy or a verbal driven strategy. Okay, so you have to do that. How much should I study every day? How many hours? It depends on whether you've been preparing till now or not, na Khushi. I am hoping that you have been writing exams till now. You've been preparing with us till now. If you have been preparing with us till now and say you're in the CAT course, then your basics should be in place. So 1 month should not be a cause for worry. 4-5 hours every day enough. If you've not been preparing seriously till now and now it is when you're starting, you will need to put in about 10-12 hours every single day if you want to crack this exam in a month, and this is your core exam that you're looking at. So it depends on your preparation level as of today. Okay. Second thing, ensure adaptive works for you. Now this according to me is a very, very important thing. Now while the paper is not adaptive in the sense that the second question is more difficult than the first, and the third more difficult than the second, and so on and so forth, or if you make an error the next question will be easier. Adaptive in terms of marking scheme to hai. Now in terms of marking scheme and adaptive, you will always realize that the first few questions are very, very important. The first few questions are very, very, if you started just 15 days back, Khushi, then you're starting from scratch. At least 10-12 hours every single day you need to get into. And if you're in our NMAT course, if you've enrolled in the NMAT course, please go ahead and look at every single video, pre-recorded video, take all topic tests, easy and moderate level, and attempt all NMAT mocks. Okay. When I say ensure adaptive works for you, this is what I mean by that. When you start attempting questions in adaptive, this is what happens. You attempt the first question, you move to 5 percentile, second 10, 20, 40, 60, 65, 70, 80. If you get the first 8-9 questions right, okay, the computer already goes ahead and places you at a particular standard. It comes and tells you, okay, you are already at this level. Now when you get one question wrong, you don't suddenly fall here. Next, if you get it wrong, you will fall here. Next one you get wrong, you will fall here. So you will not be penalized a lot after you get the first 8, 9, 10 questions right. Which is why in every section, first ensure you get the first 8, 9, 10 questions right. तो एक baseline set हो जाती है. The system understands, okay, I am talking to somebody who's around a 85, 90 percentile. And know that 94 percentile, 93 percentile is about 232. Last year जो cutoff था. So that means NMAT का cutoff 93, 94 percentile होता है. That means if the system already in 8, 9 questions understands you are about 85, 90 percentile, you only need a few more questions correct to reach there. Which is why generally an adaptive paper, you will see the graph look something like this. Look at questions number 1 to 9. It takes you from a percentile perspective, low 8, 9, 10 percentile to roughly here. Look at the growth. Now imagine that is not the case. Imagine 10 to 18 question. Imagine you made a lot of errors in question 1 to 9 and you reached here at the end of question 9. Now question 10 say you are starting at this place, which is 35, 37 percentile, and everything you get right, you will still just reach about 55, 60 percentile. So you're not really rising up the ladder a lot, which is why the first 8, 10 questions are very important in every section. Focus on them. Even if it means you will spend, for those first 10 questions, you will spend 15 minutes, please do that. There is no problem. Especially if it is quant, right? 52 minutes hai. I will have no problem if you actually go ahead and spend 10 questions, 15 or say 18 minutes. 18 थोड़ा ज़्यादा बोल दिया. चलो 17 minutes. Next 10 questions, 14 minutes. Next 10 questions, again 14 minutes. You add all of this, you are already at 45 and you've done 30 questions. Even if this means this goes to say 18 minutes. This goes to 15 minutes. This goes to 15 minutes. That means 48 minutes done, 30 questions done. You have 4 minutes, guess the remaining 6. There is no problem. But this is very, very important. First 10 questions need to work for you. Is this clear to everybody? Is this clear to everybody? Ensure adaptive works for you. Ensure the first 10 questions you focus like crazy. Ensure you get your marks there. System will pace you at a particular level. Then if you go steadily, don't make a lot of errors, you'll reach. Please keep in mind, if you attempt 25 questions and the remaining 9 or remaining 11, you do not attempt. Say you did not get enough time to mark all D's also. System takes it all as wrong. It will assume all the 11 questions are wrong. Okay? So, which is why ensure that you are guessing the remaining questions as well. Clear? So that जब आप guess करोगे तो कुछ ना कुछ चलेगा. Okay, sir, is the mocks in the app function similarly? No, not really, because we've not built an adaptive. Like I stated, adaptive build करने के लिए first you need a lot of base, right? Nobody right now can build adaptive. People might state it is adaptive, it cannot be adaptive. Adaptive exam GMAT has also brought in over the last 2 years. For a few years when it was under GMSC, it was not adaptive. Now it has become adaptive because so many people have written this exam over so many years. They have a base of upwards of 10 lakh questions. Now they can give you adaptive. Okay, so that part is not there currently built in. So please, it takes a few more years. We've started just 2 years. It'll take some time, but I want you to think of it like that. First 10 question मुझे focus करना है. Sir, in English section, vocab will come in first. It could. I didn't get a lot. I got, I think, 2 analogy questions in the first 10. I got a lot of error spotting, about 5. In fact, I think I got about 3, 4 error spotting. I got 2 PJs. I got 1 RC. And I got, 1 or 2 FIB, ऐसा कुछ था. In the first 10, 12 questions. I don't think I got even 1 analogy actually. Vocab शायद मेरे को एक भी नहीं आया होगा first 10 में. But that keeps changing. It will be different for different people, right? What I got is not something that everybody will get. So हर बंदे के लिए वो अलग है. So please keep that in mind. Okay? Perfect. The third part, which is the section-wise strategy, I've already gone ahead and discussed that when I was analyzing the paper. But still, if I were to get deeper into it, I would turn around and state very, very simple. This is what the paper was like, right? So 2 things to keep in mind is, those of you who are looking at this seriously, यार मेरे को geometry पे focus करने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. Geometry does not matter at all. Focus on arithmetic, number system, modern math. Even if you can't do that, focus on arithmetic, number system and data interpretation for sure. Okay, UBS Mumbai is the first college which is the course of MBA in finance with artificial. Should I opt for it or avoid it? It is a new concept. Please don't think about UBS Mumbai at this point in time. You are thinking about UBS Mumbai in October 2023, when CAT will happen in November, when SNAP will happen in December, when ZAT will happen in January 24, TISNET in January, CMAT, MHCT, all other exams much later. You have so many exams to go. You are trying to settle on UBS Mumbai. Usse better hai write NMAT second time. Even in through that, you might get through other colleges, Bennett, IFMR, and so on and so forth. They are way better than UBS Mumbai. So don't look at UBS Mumbai at this point in time. नहीं हो then वो देखना, ठीक है? Okay, so my recommendation is focus on these three when it comes to quant, which is DI, arithmetic, and number systems. Geometry you don't need to worry too much about. I think everybody has stated geometry hasn't come. And the second thing is, if a DI set looks very difficult, just mark all C, mark all D, and move ahead. Okay? But if you feel quant is something that I'm not good at and I need to take marks from DI, so ensure DI is something that you focus on, then give it 12-13 minutes to do those 2 DI sets and ensure you get those 8 questions right. Okay? Please keep that in mind. Next, if I go ahead and I have a look at language skills, which is verbal. In language skills, once again, this is what the paper looked like. I will once again go ahead and state that दोनों RC करना बहुत जरूरी नहीं है. You can go ahead and skip at least one RC. You know, you can move to it later, especially if it is lengthy. My recommendation is one RC, look at it very seriously, and second RC, you should go back and have a look at it. So do you think if I look at study for 1 month and I am an average student? Khushi yaar, it depends. Matlab, I'll be very, very frank. We don't generally turn around and state you can crack one exam in 1 month, right? But you know, you have multiple exams. You have NMAT, you have SNAP, you have ZAT, you have CMAT, you have MHCT. You have so many exams under OMET. So I think 1 month is enough if your strategy is in place. If you look at the concept I've stated, do arith, do numbers, do DI, do grammar, do RCs, at least level 1 and level 2, do PJs, do basic vocab, do statement assumption, statement conclusion, do basic puzzles, do input output. If you do all of this, I think it should be more than enough for you to do it. How can we go back? You can't go back. You can't go back at all. If you've attempted one question, you've gone to the next, you can't go back now. Okay? I didn't say go back. I'm saying if RCs are too lengthy, you just leave it, mark all D and go. My recommendation generally with RC is एक तो seriously करना. Second, में look at the questions and come to the RC. At least one thing I've realized is that the questions are in order of the passages. So that will help you a lot. Okay. Finally, grammar is where you have to maximize practice. Please practice grammar like crazy. Okay. So should we mark B or D? We don't know the answer. Ayush, that's up to you. It depends. All the questions that you are answering seriously, उसमें देख लो कौन सा option सबसे ज़्यादा आ रहा है. That is the one you should mark. ठीक है? That's what I'll do. NMAT is the best out of right, like the best attempt to be considered right. NMAT is the best out of right, like the best. No. NMIMS Mumbai will take only the first attempt. NMIMS will take only the first attempt. Other colleges will take best out of the 3 attempts. NMIMS Mumbai only the first attempt. Please keep that in mind. Okay. In logical reasoning, again, as I stated, statement assumption, statement conclusion is very, very important. Strong and weak arguments are very, very important. Okay. Not good at PJs, what to do? These are PJs with option. These are not CAT PJs which are theta. So you don't need to worry. It is much easier to solve. It is much easier to solve. Okay. And when I'm looking at analytical reasoning, also very, very simple stuff. So if I were to give a suggestion in terms of what are the things to do, LR sets might come towards the end. You don't need to worry too much. Don't think that I will get all my marks through my LR sets, 1 or 2 of them. It can come towards the end, so don't bank on it. Okay? Also हो सकता है 2 set ना आए, 1 ही set आए. So don't bank on the LR set. Second, logical reasoning to me seems to be the game changer. By logical reasoning, I would say analytical reasoning. It seems to be the game changer. For me, I would say those 18-20 questions are important. And that is what you need to focus on. Okay? And that is where you need to go ahead and do it. Okay. So analytical reasoning pe focus rakhna. NM colleges are accepting only the first attempt. Even Bangalore confirmed that. Hyderabad and Navi Mumbai, I think we'll have to check. 233, can I have a shot at NM Mumbai? Yeah, very touch and go. Very touch and go. 73, 79, 81. I think your sectionals are also touch and go. Overall is also touch and go. Last year cutoff was 232. 2 years back it was 235. Hence I'm saying 235 plus to be safe. Yash. Okay. Attempt order, I've already gone ahead and discussed that I like to start off with logical reasoning, move to quant and then move to LS. You have all 6 possibilities. I've explained why I like that as an order, right? So that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I've explained my funda. This helps me relax and gear up for the last section, which is language skills. Okay. Finally, last few tips which I would want you to keep in mind. What are those tips? What are the things that you should focus on? Number 1, choose the order of attempting the sections on your own. It should not be dependent on me. It should not be dependent on what I say or your friend says. You need to identify it. Okay. Second, it's a 75-day window. So choose the right date to take it. Give yourself adequate time to prepare. Only the first one for NMIMS in your 3 attempts. Please keep that in mind. Okay. No penalty for wrongly marked answers. So do guess as much as possible. वर्बल रीजनिंग पे फोकस करना पड़ेगा. वर्बल रीजनिंग में लुकिंग एट स्टेटमेंट अजम्पशन, स्टेटमेंट कंक्लूजन, स्ट्रेंथनिंग, वीकनिंग, कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन. These 4 are very, very important in order to ensure that you do well in this exam. You don't need to get all of them right. There are 18 questions. Even if you get 10 right and 8 wrong here, I wouldn't worry too much. Analytical reasoning में remaining 18 questions, if you can get say roughly about 15 right and 3 wrong, you will still get a 75 here because there'll be 25 right. So analytical reasoning to get a lot of marks, but verbal reasoning में at least 2 of these 4 you need to identify, which you will go ahead and score in. Okay? There is no navigation between sections. Please be aware of that. There is no navigation between questions as well. You have to answer one before you move to the next. Okay. Finally, if there are still some of you asking what are some more tips, you have to attempt a question before moving on. As I stated, divide the syllabus into strong and weak. Basis what I've just stated are the important topics. Revise fundamentals. That's all that you need. You don't need to go too deep into any topic. Numbers mein, they're not asking remainders. They're not asking Chinese remainder theorem. They're not asking base system. Important nahi hai. Basics karo. Har cheez ke basics karo. That's it. Take mocks and analyze your performance. That's very important. Finally, take the NMAT by GMAC official guide if you have it. If you don't, at least attempt the one free mock that is there. Finally, some of you all who might not have enrolled with us, who are there on YT, there is still adequate time. You can enroll in the OMAT course with us, wherein we will cover all of this: NMAT, SNAP, ZAT, TISNET, CMAT, MHCET, and all these exams. There are going to be pre-recorded sessions, most of which have been recorded by me and Savitri ma'am and Sinu sir, which is Srinivas sir. And finally, enough mocks and also enough live sessions, 100 plus live sessions that you can attempt as well. So this is predominantly for people on YT who haven't enrolled. Those who have, you've done well. And that brings me to an end of the session. Any questions? Any questions, guys? I've tried being as in-depth as possible. We've looked at the modalities, we've looked at the question paper, we've looked at the important topics, we've looked at the cutoffs, we've looked at the last 10-15 day plan. That's it. Do they give any point to academic marks or academic diversity? Not while giving calls. That will be looked at during the conversion. Academic marks will be looked at. Waiting for your questions, any questions that you might have. I hope that this has been helpful. Also pointing it out, mock 6, 7, 8 would be based on this as well. So those of you not enrolled in a mocks can now enroll in the mocks as well, just to ensure you're getting 3 mocks which are at this level. When to apply? You should have already applied to Nasimunji. Should have already applied. Uska bhi koi date tha. Nasimunji application was I think till the 10th or the 12th. You needed to apply for NMAT separately and NM separately. Any questions? Okay, Khushi, good to hear that it was helpful. Prep hard. I'm sure you'll do well. Any questions, guys? Anything else? Or should I bring this session to an end? Okay, I think we've covered almost everything. I've gone quite deep into the kind of questions that you can expect without divulging the exact questions. So I hope it's very clear which topics to look at. I hope it's very clear which subsections to look at. And I hope you'll be able to do it. Please tell ZAT syllabus. There's no such thing called a syllabus, as I state. Everything you do in CAT plus decision making. Everything in CAT plus decision making. Grammar is also important there. Vocab is also important. Okay. Perfect. That's it. That's it from my side. I have enrolled for the course. I will get to attempt all the mocks. Yes, absolutely, Khushi, you will. Okay, lovely. 232. Yeah, 232 is very touch and go. That was the cutoff last year. Again, your sectionals look okay. But I don't know if the overall, it's touch and go, you might get a call. Okay. Thanks for that, Archa. Hopefully that helped. Hey, Yash, if there is any questions, that is, yes, Khushi will be able to attempt all of them. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you liked it. Those who watched me on the app, go like this session at least on YT so that more and more people get it. YT algorithm is based on views and reach. So I would request you, go view it there, like it there as well, so that more and more people get access to it. More and more people understand what kind of an exam it is and that it's not rocket science, it's easy to do and what's the right way of approaching it. Okay, so that's it from my end. See you, tata, bye-bye, and we will catch up very, very soon again. Those on YT, if you want to enroll, do enroll in our OMET course and I'll see you there as well. This is just the beginning of the season. You'll see me in the analysis of all exams coming forward. Hopefully we'll do quite well. 190 to 200 I'm getting in mock suggestion. Suggest me some strategy to improve. Everything I've stated here, Saksham, look at it sectional wise. You know the sectional cutoffs. I've pointed out the topics which are important as well, basis what was there in the exam. So just look at those topics and focus on them. It's as simple as that. It'll all come from there. That's it from my end, guys. See you. Bye-bye. Tada. Good night. Shabba khair. Enjoy the World Cup. And I hope India continues to do well. India, New Zealand in 3 days. Hope we have some fun. 2 days actually. That's it from my end. See ya. Bye-bye. Hopefully this was helpful.